Hello, Libra. Welcome to your March Soul session. I am Princess India if you're new, and if you're family, welcome back, my friend, and whatnot, or whatever. So, anywho, we're going to go ahead and step into you guys' cards for the month of March. We're starting out with an overall energy as well as a challenge, and then we're going to get into a more specific spread to see what is going on with you all for the month of March. So what do we need to know for our Libras for March? Let's see. Okay. All right. Merry Christmas. Okay. So 2 cards fell out. I'm going to do that as a challenge. Let me pull the cards for your other spread while I'm at it. Let me see. And here. That's interesting. I pulled all of those from the bottom of the deck. All right. So the first 2 cards that came out for you guys overall energy for the month of March, we have the Hermit in the reverse and the Ace of Pentacles in the reverse. And of course, the Hermit is Virgo energy. So what it is looking like, Libra, in the month of March, it's kind of like misguided actions, in a sense, if I could say it that way. It's more or less being in a place to where you've kind of lost sight of what the end goal is. And you are in good company with this, because I've seen something similar to this with a lot of signs this month. But I feel for you guys, it's specifically speaking to finances. So, and to give you an example of what this could look like, it's like if you are saving money, right? Like you're working and you're saving money, but you have no intention for what it is that you're saving money for, right? So with the Hermit in the reverse, it's like you're doing a good thing, which is saving, right? But the fact that, like, why I say ill-guided, like, intention is the fact that there is no intention here, right? So saving money is a good thing, but it's the fact that there's no rhyme or reason. Like, you're not saving towards something. You're not putting it towards retirement. You're not trying to save up to buy a car. You know what I'm saying? So that can fall into the energy of it being a mismanagement of finances. I know that may sound a little crazy, but it's like that intentional part of it is a huge thing here. For some of you guys, this could not be finances. I really do feel that it is, because I mean, I can see in 2 ways how on one end it could be saving money and not having an intention as to why, which I mean would be pretty lit, because that just means that you make a lot of money. But on the other side of this, it would more or less be like spending your money haphazardly. So like not having a plan for your money, you know. But I feel that's going to be okay, well, that's interesting what I just heard. I was about to say, I feel that's going to be a main theme for the month of March, but what it is that I'm hearing is you should pay attention to your finances, because it's kind of like how your dreams are giving you insight into your subconscious, right? Like how you truly feel, or how, you know, things in your waking life are affecting you. It's almost like that's how your money is acting for you in the month of March. So kind of like what your financial behaviors are, or what your relationship is to money. So like those 2 examples that I gave, if you are stacking up money, but you're not allocating what that's for, example of this would be, you know, typically, ideally, the type of savings you would want to have is your emergency savings, which is money that you have for emergencies. Car breaks down, need a new battery, you know, something breaks in the house type of deal. Then you have like your long-term savings, which would be like retirement that you don't touch, hopefully, right? And then you have like short-term savings, which would be like, you know, saving up for a big purchase, like whether it's like a vacation, or like I said, like a car, you know, a new sofa set, you know what I'm saying? Something that's like a big ticket item. And, you know, it's a short-term saving. So it's an ultimate end goal of something you want to purchase with this money, but you're sitting money to the side for that, right? So that's what I mean, like by intentional, or like I said, on the other side of not saving at all, or not really having a financial plan. So that would be like you get your paycheck and you're just like swiping and, you know, paying bills and stuff, but you don't really have like a budget, or you're not looking at how much money is going out every month and how much money is coming in, to where you can kind of see, like, am I living beyond my means? Like, are you spending as much as you're making? So it's kind of like ill-guided intentions in that regard. However, it's like, and this is an interesting conversation to have with an air sign, because this is something with earth signs that I see happen a lot, specifically with my sign, Taurus. And you are, oh, well, that would probably be what it is, because you are our Venetian brethren and sister. And maybe it's a Venetian thing. I was about to say, this literally is something I have this conversation a lot with Tauruses, because, like, the state of a Taurus's finances always gives you insight into that Taurus's life. And if you're just looking at a Taurus's life, their finances are always going to reflect their life. You know what I mean? So if a Taurus is feeling like hella down on themselves, it's like their money is going to be funny too. So that may be a Venus thing that we have going on. But that's really what it is that I'm seeing. It's like using like your current financial situation as an oracle, if you will, and seeing like what category do you fall into? Like, are you allowing money to like burn in your pockets? You know what I'm saying? What other facets in your life are you taking on things that way? Like, you get a little bit of money and you hurry up and spend it. It's like, are you rushing in relationships? You know what I'm saying? Are you rushing through your work at work? You know what I mean? Or if you're hoarding money, is there other facets of your life that you're energetically hoarding? So that's more or less intended to act as like an oracle for you all this month, to help you get on a more intentional path. So whether that's strictly financial for you guys, or like my guides are saying, using your money as, an oracle to give you insight into other facets of your life, right? Now, the challenge for the month of March, wow, speaking of earth signs, there we go. Gotta cover up my face. We have the King of Pentacles. So, dude, legit, Libra, I'm just gonna be honest. This is really looking a lot like money for me. This is very much a financial thing. I also feel this has a great deal to do with organization. Like how I was saying, like using your money as an oracle type of deal. It's like, I feel the goal for Libras in the month of March is like more or less for you guys to turn over a new leaf and to approach things with a different kind of mentality. And, no pun intended, but more or less for more of a balanced type of mentality, because the King of Pentacles is that dude. Like, the King of Pentacles is like the resource king, proverbially speaking. It's like being financially stable, being able to, help others, other people being able to come to him, not just to borrow money, but, for advice on being wise with money, like how to save, how to invest, and things of the sort. So I'm not saying that you guys need to, become a financial guru or anything, but just more or less being in this energy for yourself. It's like being in a stable and consistent place, being consciously aware, you know what I'm saying, of the money that's coming in, the money that's going out, like how much it is you really have to work with, and making more wise and intentional decisions, as opposed to kind of being influenced on a whim, I guess you would say. Because if we were to put like the King of Pentacles in a situation, like the King of Pentacles could see a really dope ad on Instagram for something that seems really like dope to buy. Like, where has this thing been all of my life? But the King of Pentacles is aware of, the budget for this particular pay period and how much money I have left to work with, right? Because I have a budget for frivolous purchases, right? And it's like, this thing costs $100. All I really have is $50 to work with. So I can choose to forego another frivolous purchase with this $50, and I can wait until my next pay period to get another $50 for frivolous purchases and then make the purchase for this particular thing. So it's kind of like, what the goal is for you guys to align more with this energy signature, if that's making sense. So that's really what the challenge is this month, is to go from like a haphazard, disorganized kind of approach to things, especially with money, and to come into a more like systematic, intentional way of handling your finances or other facets of your life, And of course, since we're talking about Venus here, I mean, that could even be in romantic partnerships, you know what I'm saying? But anywho, your central energy for the month representing you, interesting. We have the Judgment in the reverse. Your past influence, interesting. We have the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. Your hidden influences, interesting. We have the Ace of Wands in the reverse. Your above energy, which is your potential outcome. Wow, we have the Eight of Swords. And going forward, what to look out for. We have the World card, and of course that's aligned with fixed signs, so Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, as well as Aquarius. So here's the dealio, my wonderful Librans. What is his looking like? With the Judgment in the reverse being what's representing you guys, I'm just gonna get straight to the point here. It's kind of misunderstanding the assignment, right? With the Judgment, the intention is to ascend to a higher state of being. So it's more or less you guys are intended to have a higher perspective on things, like more or less to connect the dots. Now, specifically, I can say jumping ahead a little bit with this World card being here, you guys are falling into what I've saw for every sign prior to you guys of there is a cycle that is wrapping up. So, and what I've been telling everyone is either look at the Wokebook if you have it, and kind of look back, because it could fall into this whole 15-year cycle thing. For others of you, I was saying, if you have the pattern app, to go onto the pattern app and look at what cycles like in your personal chart have ended for you within the last, couple of days, within the last week, last month or so, to give you kind of insights into what, the lessons were that you guys were intended to learn, because that'll kind of offer you some more insight. But I feel like March is almost acting as like a pause for you guys before this cycle wraps up, going into the latter part of this month, because it kind of feels like a liaison phase for me, especially with this Eight of Cups, this Eight of Pentacles and the reverse being here with the energy you guys are carrying in from February. This does seem to me heavily to be financial and like work related. So it's kind of like, because the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse for me is like a card of slappy craftsmanship. So that's kind of like when you're going to work and like, it's almost like you're not being a good steward of opportunities that are being offered to you in a sense. It's kind of like, and I mean, some of us do that. It's like, if you're going to a job and you're just there for a paycheck, right? I mean, it'd be like that. You know what I'm saying? Companies are not the way that they used to be. Some companies don't really care about their employees. So, I mean, I get that, sometimes you just riding the clock. However, if that is the case, it's like, if you're just, going to a job to get a paycheck, what are you doing with said paycheck? Is there a plan for that paycheck? Like, is there a long-term plan? Like, if you're doing something temporarily, whether that's like, seasonal work, or I talked about this in Capricorn, even if it's like a social media type of thing, because, social media careers aren't forever. You know what I'm saying? Depending in what niche that you're in. But it's like, if you're making money on social media now, it's like, what are you channeling that into? Are you investing that money into a business? Are you investing it into a product, like something that could have longevity? Or are you just, making a bunch of money and buying like Ferraris and things of the sort? You know what I'm saying? So it's like being a steward, a good steward of your finances in a sense. So whether it's in that context or it's just at a job, if you're, there for the paycheck, I ain't about to hate on you. You know what I'm saying? But are you taking that money and like, because honestly, finances are energetic. You know what I'm saying? And money is not just a resource, it is a tool, right? And the question is, are you using your finances to better your life in some way, shape, form, or fashion? Or are you just riding the clock, going there for a paycheck just to get by and pay your bills? You know what I mean? Because if that's the case, then you're stuck in a cycle. And that's what it is that I'm seeing in this Eight of Swords that's in you guys' potential outcome. Because it's almost like succumbing to burnout in a sense, because there isn't a game plan. Right. And with you guys showing up as the Judgment in the reverse, I feel that's really what the cards are trying to tell you guys in the month of March is like, hey, Libra, like, let's get out of survival mode. Let's get out of, I got to pay the rent. I got to pay the light bill, got to put gas in the car. You know what I'm saying? it's like be more intentional about your finances, or like I was saying on the other side of this, if your finances are giving you insight into other facets of your life, be more intentional about your life, right? Like, what is the game plan? What is the ultimate end goal in all of this? Like, where do you see yourself in the next year? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, right? How can you use your money as a tool, right, to get you to where it is that you're trying to go? Do you need to make investments? Do you need to save? Do you need to downsize a little bit so you have a little bit of extra money? Do you need to get a second job? You know what I mean? Do you need to get more clients? Do you need to, do more cold calls because you're only going to close 10% of business? You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever the case, it's being more intentional, because I feel there's a lack thereof of like an end goal. I hate to be repetitive, but there's a lack thereof an end goal. Like, what is the ultimate end of all of this? Like, what are we doing this for? You know what I mean? And I feel that's more or less what the whole premise of this month is, because with you guys, hidden influence being the Ace of Wands in the reverse, even though there's a new cycle for you guys energetically, with the Ace of Wands being in the reverse in your hidden influences, that's more or less saying that there isn't going to be a new beginning. Now, here's the good thing about this. I feel this is more or less spirit saving you from yourself, because if we were to, keep this mentality going into this new cycle, right? All we're going to do is recreate the past and the present, and thus into the foreseeable future. You feel what I'm saying? Now, with the World card being here, this isn't just the Wheel of Fortune. So this is like a huge, so you guys very well, Libra, may fall into that 15-year cycle that just wrapped up. So this is like, clean slate. But if we were to think about this, okay, 15 years, that's a long time. You know what I'm saying? So think about how many lessons you could have possibly learned since 2008. You feel me? Like, that's the whole thing 2009. Yeah, 2009. And that's the whole reason why, because it'd be 16 years since 2008 this year. But since 2009, and that's the reason why I was telling those of you who have my Wokebook, because my Wokebook it goes back to 2009. So it's literally telling you the energy signature for each year since 2009. So that kind of helps you to jog your memory. So I said, those of you who have it, that could be helpful. Since, like I said, for you guys, this is a big cycle that's wrapping up. So this kind of gives you the opportunity to kind of look back and, have things that are kind of jogging your memory, like, oh gosh, this year I kind of went through this and that happened, da, da, da. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of lessons that, 15 years is a long time, y'all. It's a decade and a half. You know what I'm saying? So looking at everything that you've learned in the last 15 years, that is a lot. But I feel something, if you're honest, that would be very prevalent for the Libras that would resonate with this. I can assure you that finances have been a huge part of that. I know a lot of Libras, and I love a lot of Libras. And one thing I can say about them, y'all are never broke. First of all, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what side of Venus y'all were raised on, but Tauruses, we really don't be broke neither. But with us, it's like we got to do a lot to get the money. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot, because no Taurus wants to be broke. But it's like we have to do a lot to get the money. It's a lot of working involved. But with Libra, y'all just like magnetize it to you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can mismanage your finances, and then all of a sudden it's like you just get a paycheck in the mail. You know what I'm saying? Taurus got to like get on a pole or something, So you guys don't necessarily have issues with money because Libras literally magnetize it to them. But the whole thing is, even though energetically things work like that, it's like you don't want to constantly rely on that, because that goes into the thing I was saying of being a good steward. It's like being a good steward of your finances is more of an energetic thing. It's like by nature, you're always going to draw money to you and opportunities to you, but you're also counterbalancing like that innate energy that you guys have with an energy signature that you're choosing to participate in. You know what I'm saying? So if money comes to you easily and you're working with that vibration by managing your finances, then you end up in the seat of the King of Pentacles, where, you know, you just got goo gobs of money. You know what I'm saying? Coming out of everywhere. You got so much money, you don't even know like what to do with it. You're bored of spending it and things. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I was saying with this Eight of Pentacles, within the last, and I'm literally gonna say it, within the last 15 years, I know that sounds so extra, y'all, but literally with that, in the last 15 years, or, you know, since February, I feel, I don't know, it's almost kind of like a burnout kind of feeling to me, but I feel like all of that comes from the fact that there's no end goal. Right now, here's another thing. My God's just, it feels like a water gun, I'm not gonna lie. Like when they're like, it feels like they took a little water gun and were like behind me. It's hilarious. Anyway, if there's somebody out there that sees people without bodies, I'm pretty sure you probably have a field day looking behind me at my videos, you know. Just thought I should say that. Shout out to you. Anyway, moving right along. But the whole thing with this, it's like I feel this is a huge pivot that you guys can take that can really like kind of shift and transform things for you guys, like moving forward. And I feel the whole reason why there's kind of like a pause, because like I said, your potential outcome being the Eight of Swords, this is a huge mental energy. And this is a dichotomy I've literally been seeing with every sign prior to you guys. With the Eight of Swords, of course, it's pretty much saying the only reason why it is that you're stuck is because it's being too much in your head space. And there's a need to tap back into your heart space, which is really what your true desires are. Like, what is it that you really want, Libra? So when we even think about it in the big picture of end goals, because sometimes that can be like too huge. Because like, say if your ultimate end goal is like, I don't know, to have a Fortune 500 company. It's very easy to get discouraged in the meantime, in between time, because something like that is going to require a lot of time, energy, and effort, and, you know, potentially decades, another 15 years in order to get there, right? So in the case of that, it's like setting short-term goals, right? Because your short-term goals can add up to where they're leading to an ultimate like main goal. You know what I'm saying? A long-term goal, if you will. So I feel like I was saying with the different types of savings accounts, if you don't have an emergency savings, which, you know, I know how they're saying how it is for Gen Z and stuff like that. You know, it's hard out here for Gen Z, but, you know, millennials, I mean, we ain't got it that much better, but, you know, we a little all right, you know. And if you Gen X, then, you know, you good. I mean, you're fine if you're Gen X, let's be honest, but moving right along. But if you're a millennial, and depending on your situation, if you're Gen Z, you should at least have an emergency savings, right? Maybe saving for retirement, unless, you know, they're taking it out of, you know, your check. You know, it's a little hard for people to do. My best advice, and I say this as someone who was self-employed for 7 years, like, please God, like any amount of money that you get, maybe this is the whole conversation we'll have on the network, but there's, when you're self-employed, there's a good account to get, to save for your retirement. But I mean, if you're only taking like, I mean, 5%, if you just took 5% out of every amount of money that you have coming in and setting that to the side on top of, you know, taxes, like if you charge taxes, I don't know who I'm talking to, child. I feel like I'm talking to somebody who's literally self-employed in a service-based industry. Whoever you are, hey, how you doing? I'm giving you free business advice. I don't know why. I'm just an employee here, you know, but that's something important to do. I'm just going to say this because it feels right. So for all of your services, you should be charging taxes for them because we have to pay the government. I can't speak about other countries of how that works, but, you know, here in America, you got to pay your taxes. So you always want to make sure that you're charging, like, you know, your state tax or whatever for any services that you're giving. And when it comes to the taxes that you're charging, you should not look at that as pocket money. You literally need to have a separate account where every single, you know, client you get, every single product that you sell, whatever that, you know, surcharge is for your state taxes, you need to take that out of the amount that, you know, you're charging someone and put that aside into an account. My best advice is to make sure that you pay your taxes at least twice a year. So it's like, at like the 6 month mark, send in your taxes, like the money from the taxes. And then, at the end of the year, you have your other big chunk. And that's usually around the time that you're doing your taxes. That will make your life so much easier if you do that, because when you are self-employed, it's like you don't have to pay taxes during the year. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no one to take it out your check, But at the end of the year, when you go do your taxes, that's a whole nother animal. You know what I'm saying? So just take that as some advice, But anyway, but any amount of money that you make, you can save, even if it's $1 every paycheck. I had this conversation with another sign, whoever it was, commented below. But I feel that's the kind of mentality that I feel the cards are saying that it would behoove Libra to adapt. It's like a very intentional approach to things, if you will, because, like I said, every millennial should have an emergency savings, because emergencies really happen, right? And I know a lot of people say, oh, well, I don't make enough to save. I get that. But even if it's just $5 out of a paycheck, if you were to give up eating, fast food, or if there's a certain snack that you like that, you buy with your groceries, if you were to just forego that and just set aside $5, it's like, that's still, 2 times a month, that's still $10 more than, you would have had if you didn't, you know what I mean? So we always have the opportunity to save at least something, right? It may not be an astronomical amount, you know what I mean? Or, I tell people sometimes pay tithes to yourself, like take 10%. I don't mean that to be disrespectful, but I'm just saying, if you take 10% of your overall like earnings, put that into your personal storehouse. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, in all of this, Libra, I feel the message is for you guys to become more strategic and more intentional in what it is that you're doing. And I feel that you guys are being kind of held up, so you can look at March as kind of like a liaison phase in order for you guys to kind of tap in back to your emotional space. What am I doing all of this for? What is the ultimate end goal of this? And honestly, the idea I'm kind of getting with this is what would be helpful would be like journaling. So what I'm actually going to do for you guys, Libra, and I'm going to tell my staff, because I try to take notes like right after I do like a session, to remind myself of little things that came up during, but I'm gonna make sure that I tell my staff after this so they remind me. What I'm gonna do for you guys is I'm gonna give you guys some journal prompts, right? To kind of help you step into the heart space, like with this 8 of Swords, I'm going to give you guys some journal prompts to use in the month of March to kind of help you guys get into that head space of like, where is it that I am now? Where is it that I'm trying to go? And what, strategic action steps or what new, attitudes or behaviors do I need to integrate into my life in order for me to reach this particular end goal? Because I feel that's really what the work is in the month of March. And I feel like it's, a beautiful time, for that to happen. And my attention is being brought back to the Ace of Pentacles, where I feel the need to say, even if there's like some type of financial struggles or you guys are waiting for money. Oh, wow. That's a whole thing. Maybe that's like a tax return thing. That's the only thing I could think of where people are getting money now. Or maybe like, because of how I was feeling like I was talking to like an entrepreneur, maybe it's, I don't know, a contract or something, money's being held up or something like that. I feel why, like if there's any delays in a financial sense, the reason why that money would be being held up too is because it would behoove you to get into a different mindset before you get into like get this money. Because I feel if something doesn't shift, you would end up, like potentially squandering it, for lack of better terms, because you would kind of approach having the money the same way that you have every time prior to this. And I even feel, dude, this is so interesting. Like, I like this reading. This is a whole nother vibe of the energy I'm picking up on. Um, I would even say for those of you who are business owners, that this, like, you're just 3 months into the year. So if you're going crazy, like, I was excited to do my taxes this year, y'all, because, I got a job. So I'm still self-employed with my private practice, but, I have a job in the daytime. So I had a W-2. So, child, when I tell you, doing my taxes this year, it was so easy compared to what it was like before. Because with my private practice, doing taxes for that has always been easy because of the software that I use. Like, I literally get a printout that I take to my tax preparer. But like with everything else, oh my gosh, it's just a shit show. But that felt nice. But I'm saying that to say, for a Libra person who is, like I said, if you're like a social media person, because social media people still be paying taxes, child. I paid taxes on all this YouTube money. But whether you're a social media person or entrepreneur, service-based business, whatever the case, you're 3 months into the year. And this is a very specific message for somebody, dude. So I'm just going to talk directly to you. So every year, because you feel the thing, like I was just talking about when I would do my taxes, right? It's a whole freaking ordeal with all of the receipts and the expenses and then bringing all your bills in. And like, it is a thing. Okay. I hated it. I did not look forward to doing it at all. And I'm sure you don't either. But you told yourself in 2023, 2022, 2021, every year prior to this one, you keep telling yourself, I'm going to get QuickBooks this year. I'm going to track my mileage. I'm going to track my expenses. I'm going to hold on to receipts and things. You've been telling yourself that, but every year you always end up falling into the same thing. So I don't know who you are, whoever you are, please comment below, because I love when I get messages like this and there's like a random person listening to me while they're like washing dishes and they hear me say stuff like this and they're like, what she just said? Yeah, I'm talking to you. But anyway, so every year you keep saying that. This year, you done fell back into the same thing that you have every year prior to this one, and you are not tracking your expenses. You have not been. Maybe you started like, in January. You was doing a little bit of something, but you done fell off the wagon. Okay, this is your message and your sign from your friend, Princess India, letting you know, hi, my Libra friend, to get back on the bandwagon and go get QuickBooks, get the little app, QuickBooks, self-employed, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And start tracking your expenses. And like I was saying, the whole thing, like with the taxes and stuff, sitting that money to the side. So that way you won't, like your 2025 self will thank you, so it's not too late in the game. We're literally just 3 months in. I mean, I'm recording this in February. So we're just 2 months in. But, you're probably I don't know if you're going to watch this in March. I mean, I don't know if you're a member on my Patreon or my network, then you're going to see this in February. And whoever you are, go ahead, say who you are in the comments. But anyway, legit, it's like you're just 3 months in. So it's not too late. This is just Q1. So you still have the memory to be able to go back through January and February and get those receipts and things of the sort. So go ahead and start that now, my friend. So that's your little personal message from the people without bodies, get on the good foot, my Libra friends. So that's the whole thing, man. It's just about you guys being more strategic. And I feel that's something that's going to help you guys combat burnout. It's something that's going to help you guys. Like if ever you have like that feeling like you're floating around, like, what the fuck is my life? What the fuck am I even doing? If you ever have feelings like that, I feel being very intentional about things, whether it's your finances or other facets of your life. I'm sorry for shuffling y'all's ear, but whether it's your finances or other facets of your life, I feel that's going to help you a lot, because every day you feel more purposeful and intentional. And, when you're going without things or telling yourself no to, an Instagram ad, there's a why behind it. And then there's a certain sense of peace. And this is so interesting. This is just like the conversation that I had with my Virgo bestie. She just left my house, where I was telling her about my sick time and my PTO. Like, I've been self-employed for years, a very long time. prior to the job that I have now. But I was telling her, like, back in the day, like before I was a therapist, like I used to call out sick all the time. Like, sorry to every boss that ever, I was a terrible employee. Let me just be honest. I think every boss I've ever worked for would literally tell you I was a horrible employee. Like, I would get, freaking 8 hours of sick time and I would use that shit immediately. Like, I never had enough time to ever take any type of vacation or anything because I was constantly calling out, right? Type of person I was. And I was literally telling my friends, so I'm not going off on a tangent. It's totally what I was saying. But the thing I was talking about with her was like, I was like, dude, I like accidentally became an adult because I have so much PTO time and sick time at my current job because I have never called out of work. Like, ever since I've started this job, I've never not come to work. Like, I've been at work every single day since I started, right? So when I saw how much time I had, I was like, oh my gosh, I have a lot of time. So the thing I said, it's like, it's interesting now because I have so much time, I can actually plan things. Whereas, jobs I worked before, I could never take a vacation because I never had enough time to ever take like an actual vacation because I was using it as soon as I got it. So I said, it's nice to know now, like this year coming up, like I was like, for Christmas, when we have the Christmas holiday and like the New Year's holiday, I have enough time to be able to take off those days in between and like be off for 2 weeks. And I was like, that's a really good feeling to know that that's something, I don't have to worry about. If I do get sick, I have time. I don't have to worry about being leave without pay. You know what I'm saying? And I say that to say, Libra, it's the same thing like how I was saying with you guys with the emergency savings. It's a beautiful thing to know that if your tire blows out or, you wake up one morning and your car won't start and you need a new battery, like, the roadside assistance people come and it's like, oh, you need a new battery. It is such a wonderful feeling to know, thank God I have this savings account, right? So you can go take $300 out of there and go buy a new battery, as opposed to being without a vehicle until you're able to somehow save up that $300, right? But the way that you're still intentional with your money is once you take that $300 out and buy a new battery, what is the next order of business? Okay, next paycheck, I need to take a certain amount out and put that back into the emergency savings to, patch up that $300 that I spent. So it's more or less getting out of, because of course we're supposed to live in the present, right? But we want to plan for the future to a certain extent, right? To where we're thinking about future self. Like, we want to live our life every day. So we're not like, scraping by with what it is that we can get. And it's like, sorry, future self, like, you'll figure it out. You know what I mean? So it's more or less setting yourself up for success in the future, whether that's with an emergency savings account, whether that's with, going to the doctor and getting a checkup, you know what I'm saying, and catching something before it's an issue, going to the dentist, you know what I'm saying, and taking care of issues with your teeth before it becomes a bigger complex issue, or something as simple as being a good steward of your sick time. Now, this is interesting for me, Libra, because it's literally like the whole theme of you guys reading is a lesson on being a good steward of the things that, spirit gives you. You know what I'm saying? Like, the things that you have in your life, it's being a good steward of the blessings that you have. You know what I mean? And being a good steward is a completely different category. It's a close cousin of it, but it's a completely different category than gratitude, because gratitude is like, oh, I'm thankful for the stuff that I have. But being a good steward is being thankful for the things that you have, and that being an action statement, right? It's not just saying, oh, I'm thankful, I'm thankful. It's you taking this thankfulness that exists within you and acting in accordance with that. You know what I'm saying? That's very much everything that the King of Pentacles stands for. I love that. I think I have a think piece on being a good steward. So along with those journal prompts, along with those journal prompts for you guys, I'm gonna dig that up. It's in one of my hard drives. But for those of you who are on my network, because I can't post like a whole article on YouTube, but for those of you that are on my network, I'm gonna go ahead and post that on there for you guys. And I mean, I don't even know why you're not on my network because it's free. Just saying. I mean, it's for girls, no offense, but you know, it's free. So why not? Anyway, moving right along. So you guys, Oracle card. Ooh, it is, come on, Dagnabbit. I gotta cover up my face. Or not. There we go. Status quo in the reverse. I don't know. My autofocus has been a champ today. Let's see here. Cycle. That's events. Is that here? Yes, cycles. That's number 2. Let's see. So the reverse. It says, status quo reversed is a time of radical discontinuity. Discontinuity. I can't say that word right. Don't you dare judge me. There is a great upheaval taking place, potentially sooner than you think. It may be your own choices, like leaving a relationship or a job, or it may be a big change, not of your own making, such as the closing of a business that employs you. Either way, it's time for you to get clear in your thinking and consider the steps you need to take to redirect your destiny. Even if the changing situation seems outside of your control, never lose sight of the fact that you own the power of your thoughts. In fact, this can be precisely the opportunity you need to move you to your desired destiny. The adjustment may be severe, but you will be, I cannot freaking read right now, but you will be no less than a phoenix rising out of the flames of disruption. So take heart, look at the options that empower you, and let yourself move forward with courage and inner peace. Know that this upheaval will push you toward a happier and more harmonious status quo to come. Affirmation. I determine the emotional energy of my life. My inner strength flows through every experience. Now, something I can say with this, Libra, this instantly takes my attention to the 8 of Swords, right? So when we talk about a potential like disruption, and kind of like how my guides were saying too, with like using money almost as like an oracle, how I could see this manifesting is, and because with this being in the outcome position, so this very well could be that towards the end of this month, there's something unexpected that happens, right? Now, this unexpected thing that happens, it was not foreseeable. You did not see this happening. But much of what I've talked about in you guys' soul session is about preparation. So this kind of acts like they were saying with that Ace of Pentacles in the reverse of using it like an oracle, because I feel whatever this thing is that could potentially happen with this 8 of Swords, you're going to feel stuck or that there's no way out. The first thing that your mind is going to go to is something that you should, ought, or supposed to have done, right? So an example of this would be like if you had, maybe you got paid 3 times in 1 month and you had an extra, little cash on the side, right? They didn't take your insurance out of this check, so you got some extra money, right? So instead of taking that money and sitting it to the side, you were like, I'm going to go buy that cool thing I saw on that Instagram ad, right? So then the next following week, which isn't the pay week, right? This random thing ends up happening. So say it was kind of like, I don't know, the car battery situation, right? Now it was $300 extra that you had. If you wouldn't have let that money like burn, between your fingers, right? Then you could have handled this little hiccup that comes up. But I feel for you guys specifically, whatever this is, I don't feel, because it's not a tower. So it's not going to be anything that's insurmountable where you're like, oh my gosh, like, especially with this card, like seeing how this looks, I legit feel for you guys. There's going to be a way out of it. I feel like you guys are going to have a helper. You're going to have someone that's going to lend you a helping hand with it. It may be an initial kind of, but your mind is going to go instantly to a thing where you're like, damn, I really should have did that. Or something been telling me to do that. You feel what I'm saying? But I feel what that's acting as is kind of like a wake up call. You know what I mean? Because you guys are in Judgment in the reverse, right? More or less, this card upright is a wake up call, right? So the thing that's needed for Libras to ascend to a higher state of being is this little shock, this little jolt to get you to realize, like, all right, I need to change something. Something needs to change. My mindset needs to change. Because if my mindset doesn't change, I'm going to keep ending up in situations like this. And I feel that's kind of like the fire under you guys' butt to move forward. For others of you, this reading literally could be enough of a jolt, you know, for you guys to move forward. And I say that for people who are cross watching. If you're cross watching, then the Libra that you know and love, if they're terrified by tarot and you can't send them this video, then you know it's going to be something that's going to happen that's going to shake them up a little bit and they'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? But anywho, Libra, that's been your soul session. You guys are back on the train of everyone else prior to you, where the soul sessions were super long. Everybody else was pretty short. But anyway, that's been your soul session. Definitely let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, I love your freaking face. And I will see you guys sooner than later, my friends. And 9 times out of 10, that's going to be in the next soul session or on my note.